Well, today I've had an interesting failure. We're going to call no air conditioning. And I got over here and the fan blade was all jacked up sideways, came off. In fact, here's the old fan blade. Ouch, thing's hot. And you see the hub's all ripped out of it. And let me show you the, here's the motor. So I had to lift these pieces over. It did that. And what else did it do? The blade, you see how the blade hit this copper pipe? Luckily it didn't punch a hole in it, lose all the freon. So anyway, when that blade came off, of course the compressor continued to run. And over time it overheated and quit working. So first thing I did, I tried to turn it on. Got a wasp flying around me, get away wasp. And the compressor was locked up. All it would do is hum. So that was bad news. I thought, okay, the compressor's locked up. I'm gonna have to put a new compressor in or replace the whole system. So the next step, I tried a new capacitor. The compressor was still locked up, still just hum. So my last step was to try a Kickstarter here, hard start kit. Put that on there, and luckily, the compressor has now came on. So I got that part solved. Now I got to solve the fan problem. I had an old unit with still has a good fan. The only difference is the fan pitch is different. It's reversed. But luckily the motor itself that I have on here is a universal motor, and it is reversible. So I can reverse these wires and get it to spin the opposite direction. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do. Put that fan on there, reverse it, and see if I can't get some air conditioning working today. Okay, so this is test number one. You see my wires. I reversed these two wires to make the motor turn the opposite direction because my blade pitch is reversed from the original fan blade. And you see my wires are all hanging loose, but I'm just going to do a quick test, then I can button it up. So I'm going to push the contactor. Super. The compressor's on, it's blowing. Woo! It's good news. I was afraid the compressor was locked up. So now I'll button everything up and then of course pull the disconnect before I go monkeying with all my wires again. I'll button it up, turn it on, and see if we have cool air inside. Well, you can see everything. I got everything all mounted now. Hard start's mounted. Everything's wired back. It does work. I just got to put this last panel on. Go inside, make sure we got good cooling. But I got to thinking about this. This little part only cost $10. But you know, a heat and air guy, you just don't know how it's going to play out if you don't know how these things work. Someone should come out to your house and check it out, and technically they would be right. The compressor would not start. You know, it using the stock capacitor. Even like me, I put a new capacitor on it. Still, the compressor was just locked up, just humming, would not start. So an HVAC guy could tell you, well, you need a new system. That'll be $4,000, $5,000. Who knows? I guess it's probably about the running rate. But if that happens to you, if someone ever tells you, okay, you need a new compressor, that'll be X amount of dollars, ask him, have you tried a hard start kit? So don't give up on your compressor before you try a hard start kit. You know, you might get lucky, just like I did. So this went from a $4,000 repair down to a $10 repair. So we'll go inside and see if we can get some cool air out of this thing. Well, it's been running now for about 10 minutes. I went inside. It's 85 degrees in the house. It's blowing out 67-degree air. So it's doing really good. So this project is over and got her fixed for $10. Not too bad for a day's work or a couple hours work. Okay, well, I'm back at this same job here with the fan blade blew apart, and I installed this hard start kit. It's been a couple of weeks, and after doing some research about how these hard start kits work, I realized the hard start kit I installed is a cheaper version, has a high failure rate. So because they're only like 10 bucks. You get what you pay for. So I'm going to install this instead. These are like 35 bucks or so. Designed for 1 to 3 ton units. And it's got a potential relay, which is much better. Where this has a type of relay that's based off heat. And then sometimes they may or may not disengage, or they malfunction a lot more than what a potential relay design will. So I'm going to wire this in. I did a test. I got 46 inrush amps with this installed. So I'm going to put the new one on there and see if that amperage changes any. So I'll get that done. Okay, so the difference in these two, okay, this is a 2-wire hard start. What I've installed here is a 3-wire, and they do a much better job. Evidently, to the reviews and stuff that I've read about them, and they're super simple to hook up. And they got the diagram right here, tells you what goes where. You only got 3 wires to deal with, because you got your yellow wire that goes to the HRM contact or connection on your capacitor, and that's right around the corner back here. HRM, if you don't know, stands for hermetic. Hermetic means something airtight container, something sealed, which our compressors are. Alright, so we got that one on there. And then we've got a red wire, which we can go to a little thing. It goes to the common connection on the capacitor. So we got a simple red wire. Put it on common. Alright, got that. Well, that's a tight one. Then we got your black wire. Put it on T1 on the contactor. You see a contactor, and it says T1. Of course, make sure your disconnect is full. I'm working with this stuff because this is 220 volts. You don't want to get zapped. It will just ruin your day. And we'll go down here to the very bottom of the contactor, and there's a spare terminal. We'll push up on it and get that on there. I'm going to take both hands, get a better fit. Okay, so everything's wired up, and I did do a test on it. Right there it is. So now my amps are down to 30 on startup. And according to the nameplate here, locked rotor amps is, on the left of factory was 61. So we've cut it in half, the amp load on that compressor. And there's a lot of great features about these starting kits, especially if you have an older unit that may be on its last leg, it's not starting, or your lights dim when they kick on. I mean, so the research I've done saying you can even, actually can save a little electricity over the time. If you live in an area where maybe, the voltage is a little bit low, so maybe you're sharing a transformer with, 4 or 5 people, and everybody's got their air conditioners on in the middle of summer, and the voltage runs just slightly low, and the compressor is having a hard time starting, or you see lights dimming, this device will help take care of that and keep that extra heat out of the start windings out of the compressor, because you want that compressor up and running as quick as possible, so it's not generating all that extra heat and causing damage to the windings and shortening the life of the compressor. So anyway, I'll just put my panel on this and call this one done, and thanks for watching. Have a great day.